Uh, is it testing? Okay. So yeah. Hi, Borges59 here, and I'm gonna be making a tier list. As you can see, I did some of it, but that was because I tried recording like last week, but it turns out I wasn't recording. That's annoying. So I wasted like an hour. Like, there's not much to it. I'm just gonna start like I want to explain more as to why Patisse. So the first episode, BFB one, BFDI one. Computer. Okay, BFB one, BFDI. Sorry. Okay, so this episode has like I don't really see any flaws of the episode. Like the reason this episode is like the most solid of all the episodes, honestly, in the show. Like, to be fairly honest, like this episode was like the first episode. It did a lot of things like pretty decently. Like I don't think it did the best, but it did do it fairly fine. Like it did it in a pretty good way. Like I mean, it introduced the characters in a pretty good way. Like it wasn't the best way to introduce them. Like some characters definitely didn't have good personalities, but it did its job. I do prefer its second episode, its sister episode, which is BFDI 1B, which I mean is better. It just this is more of a foundation on this episode. This episode is exactly the same. They're both pretty similar. It's just I prefer this one because it's challenging more and it developed the rest of the characters a little more. Like these two episodes are pretty similar. I think they did a pretty good job like storing this series, which is important because it's important. It's extremely important to like introduce this series in a good way, and I think they did a pretty good job, especially since they were like 12 back then. Seriously, the third episode is pretty man. No, like this. Oh yeah, I forgot the second episode. The second episode is it's pretty great. Like I like the challenge. Like the challenge, I think it's enjoyable. I just liked the I liked the subplot with like Blocky being on. I generally like this. I think this episode's like. I think this episode was definitely a great follow-up episode to these two. Like, to the point where I feel like this episode should have been like the pilot, but whatever. Like, the animation was also pretty good. Like, even though I didn't like, even though the character that should have been eliminated wasn't the one, even though the character that got eliminated wasn't the one I wanted. Like, that doesn't really matter that much. Like, it didn't. It definitely did. The second episode definitely did its job, like following up these two. The third episode, it's kind of meh. Like, the biggest issue with the challenge is that it feels like it's trying to. It feels like it's trying too hard. No, like the biggest. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just babbling along, spitballing. The biggest issue with the challenge is that it's not much really happens. Like only Blocky and like only Blocky, Pen, Eraser are the ones really doing anything of substance. Everyone else is kind of just doing it, doing random art stuff, and it's not really that engaging. It's kind of just there. Before I it's a great episode because it's actually because the challenge is actually good. Things actually happen. Episode, a lot. Also, this episode's a really funny one. Like, I do not remember any jokes in this episode. I'm sorry, like I don't remember, like except like the last one. This episode has some really funny jokes. Like the Days gag is like just just really funny, honestly. Yeah, I haven't like if you wonder, I haven't really watched them. Like, watched these episodes, kind of going back on memory. So I probably will update this eventually later on, but as of now, uh, I think it's a great episode. I don't really have much else to add, but I didn't like the ending because I feel like a bit of a cop out, and it felt like a really predictable ending at the time. Like seriously, that it's less that it's a predictable ending, more that it's just it feels like a cop out. Like it's not really shouldn't be like that. BFB 5 is the same. Like these both episodes are really similar. They have the same issues. This episode has the same issue as with this episode. They're both not interesting. Like this episode has a bit more substance, but not much more. And this has less substance because at least this episode they're both very similar. Like they have a few good jokes, but nothing actually happening in the challenge. I was just higher, I guess, because the character that got eliminated was 1G. I'd say that he definitely should have been eliminated because it's like one with one pin, but he didn't do anything back then, so here's a whole character get eliminated. Like the difference between those two episodes are like really close, so any minor difference can mean a lot. Also, one thing I really have to point out, a lot of these thumbnails are pretty good. Like, this episode has a good thumbnail. It's just too bad it's a bad episode. Like seriously, it's about average. What else to say? BBI 6 is one of the best episodes of the show. It's like the best episode of the first season. Like it has like a unique challenge. It's like one of the it's like a completely different episode from the rest of the show. Really, like I think that's what makes it unique. It's completely different. Even then, however, the episode still has a really good challenge. Like, everyone gets screen time in the episode, which is awesome. Almost like even BFB has trouble doing that. So it's actually nice to see this here. The team dynamics are really good. Like especially snowballs and golfball. Like don't they have one of the best team dynamic because they're actively against each other. Like seriously, to fix GB's issue of not really doing anything in the show. Like she's a bossy character, but she doesn't do anything in season 1. Like she makes a team later on, but that's it, and she gets eliminated pretty early on. Like she seems like she isn't that. She doesn't seem that strong compared to like in BFDI and BFB. Like she's more stronger. Like she controls her team, and she doesn't have many rivals there because she outlasted them or did not enter. Like they're here, however, like she didn't even have a rival. Like I know BFDI she didn't even have one, but like at least she had more development with TV, and BFP like she got one, like 8 Ball, and 8 Ball was a rival in BFB, and she also like had and the same thing as she had in PVIA team. Here it doesn't really have one. Like what? Tell me what's a rival in BGI? Like besides from this episode, she doesn't have much of a rival, and that really limits her development to just being the bossy character. But what's worse is problem was the fact that she doesn't even get to have her team until like almost when she's eliminated, so we don't even have time on her. This is probably the only other time she has screen time, and this is probably her best moment in BVI. Maybe even BVI including, I'm not sure. I've been rambling on because GB's because again GB's biggest amount of time is in this episode probably. And Snowball as well. Like Snowball has a major part in this episode, and he doesn't really get utilized in the other episodes, which is whenever he gets utilized, he hurts the team a lot more, which Again, like it doesn't make so much sense if like you're trying to win, so that you're trying to do everything to win, but you're in the party team. Like it does make sense, but I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't fit his character. Like in this episode, BFB9, or he's or it doesn't really work, which I'll get to later. But I've been very on. The other teams are pretty good, like Pen Erasers and like Fiery. They're like the worst one, but they're not bad. Like they're at least interesting. I see Queenies and Needles is like fine. Queenie isn't as annoying in this episode because there's no fiery overall this episode. I'm kind of just explaining that the teams are good, have good chemistry. Like, teams have good chemistry. I think that the challenge is really well executed. I think overall the how interesting the level is. This episode doesn't have much of a flaw. I guess like I guess the biggest flaw is that it's I guess its biggest flaw is not really much. I even like the person got eliminated out. Like, I didn't like Ben in the season, so like I'm actually am happy that she got out. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling on this episode too long. Like, it's a amazing episode, mainly because you know, interesting concept. It is a really well execution, and like the team dynamics are really great. You don't need much more, honestly. I think it's definitely the best episode of the show. Unfortunately, we're gonna go to one of the worst episodes of BFDI, the first season. BFB 7 is so boring. I don't even remember what this episode it's puzzle building. Like, I remember the ending, which is like so dumb. Like, apparently, the squishy cherries lose because they were too dumb to solve the puzzle. Like, like what? Only Fiery is dumb, really. Like, the other characters aren't as the other characters aren't as dumb. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know, it's just kind of confusing. Like, why they decided to make the squishy cherries win again? Like, can they even make them lose again after that episode? Like, seriously, if you actually look at the win to lose ratio, like if you compare the squishy cherry wins and squashy grapes wins, this episode probably should have been switched to being a squishy cherry win because well, I would have had a bit more dynamic. The squishy cherries, after losing a lot of their other characters, were basically just two alliances together and fiery, and that wasn't really interesting and it didn't do much. Adding another character in will help it out. But no, they got fiery into the squashy grapes, which was not a good move because it didn't make fiery and Queenie worship characters like really. This was also really very forgettable. Like after these two episodes, yeah, I don't see how it's an excuse. Like at least things happen. This almost nothing happened. The DI8 is pretty great as well. However, it's wait a minute. I'm gonna have to check the recording. Yep, it's recording. That's good. So, BFDI is a great episode. Again, it has a good challenge. I think that did a pretty good job with the challenge of them trying to make it be like, of them trying to make it like a two-person race. Like the challenge here is pretty good. I also do like the rejoin. Like this is the first time I rejoin this, and I think they did a pretty good job with the first rejoin. Like when I'm showing the first rejoin, it did a pretty good job. But I think the reason what makes it episode from a good episode to right is the ending part with Ice Cube like dying over and over again. like that part was awesome. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the rejoin is in this episode. I doubt it's in this one because I'm pretty sure Blocky's in this one. So yeah. Speaking of that episode, this episode, it's a, oh sorry, it's good. Like since it's a good transition episode. Like this is actually how you do a transition episode. First of all, it has more substance to just it being a transition episode. It's more than just transitioning like between teams to three teams. Like it at least it does. It has more of a point. Like the challenge is pretty decent. Dribbling at Blocky, which is pretty good. Like that's already a big improvement. Pretty good thing about this episode. But one of my favorite characters of the first season is brought back. And then like the first rejoin was pretty good. They did a pretty good job at doing it. Like the three-way tie, like for getting 4 points, was pretty interesting. Like it does make you question why some of these characters got booted out earlier, but they have. It is interesting that some of these characters got booted out early. Like Spongy, yeah, has the same number of kind of fans, I guess, as Pen around that time. I guess it's because Pen wasn't booted out because her annoying side hadn't like fully come out yet. I guess. I say the only big issue is that I didn't like how they did with Snowball. Like, I guess yeah, also Queenie and Fiery, but that's it. Like going back to Snowball and the rest of his team. Like first of all, I actually liked the dynamic with that team a lot, but I don't know why they had to lose. I don't know why they had to lose in this episode. It makes no sense. They shouldn't have lost this episode. Like I like the team dynamic, but either way, this episode is just really good. Oh yeah, also yeah, I forgot completely to talk about SB. Like I didn't like how, for some dumb reason, they decided to have us be like, have everyone, including Blocky, be tied, and him be the one doing the challenge. I mean, it makes sense him and Blocky doing it, but not only him. That doesn't really make sense. Like they probably would have won the challenge if it was him and Blocky, because everyone's just pretty light. So yeah, I don't get what they're trying to do. It just felt like a way just to get SB out. Then we have BFB 10. BFB 10 is again it's a great episode. Like no, it's like an amazing episode. Like this episode has a lot going for it. First of all, it has 3 challenges, which makes it really unique compared to the other episodes. Like did you prefer? Did you like the tier challenge, where it's like it's short, but it's not the only challenge, so which at least it makes it sense. Also, it actually has a free funny gag with announcer saying that they all get a tie because they all have war. Like that was a really good joke. They also have like the snowball one, which is like I don't know why, but why doesn't the show use more wintry environments, like more snow theme environments? I have no idea. Like it's better than 9% grass. Seriously, I'll take it any other day. And then there's like the balancing challenge, which it's short. It has a significance at least. Like for getting the win token and just saying the losing player. Like at least these challenges, at least all these challenges are enjoyable and at least have a purpose. Like the other one can technically be taken out, but it has a joke and it's a nice reference to like the Toll Fairy comics, the Toll Fairy Island comics. Overall, not much else to say. This was just really enjoyable. I do think, however, that three-team system of elimination was quite flawed. Like, okay, so I think a really fast car sped by, and I'm in the living room, that that's annoying. That sound. But what I was saying, like, I didn't like how three teams had system was like three team system was like the bottom two characters who have to be voted on by their contestants. I do not like that, honestly. The biggest issue is that it's like, to be fairly honest, elimination oftentimes what would happen is that the show isn't really that good, or doesn't have much character interactions anyway. So it feels a bit off when they try voting, because like some of the characters have never interacted before, so like it does give them a fair advantage. Not in this case, but in another case. In here, it doesn't work because oh my gosh, I'm just gonna explain from here. Okay, it doesn't work here because Teen Noni, it doesn't work here mainly because it doesn't work here because Snowball got saved by Pencil for a strange reason. Like, her reasoning was so stupid. Like, here's the reason. The reason why, well, apparently she saved him was because he did episode 4 and 5, which it would make sense if he wasn't the only one who didn't vote out of Alliance, which just seems a bit strange. Like, once she votes on someone else, like T-Rob, once she votes on T-Rob, like, I know they both barely interacted, but they both, like, this one is kind of confusing in the fact that they almost never interact. So why Pencil's opinion different than Bubble and Pencil, Bubble and Matches? Like, I don't really get it. Yeah, that's the only flaw of the episode. It really does, like, one of the best episodes of the first season. Like, I would get confused for some reason. Like, and then we get BFDI 11, which, yeah, I say that around the BFB 11 to around BFB 16 have a bit of a hard time, like, with the thumbnails, mainly because it's a bit of a time since I've seen some of them. Like, I know this is BFB 15, and this is BFB 13, this is 14. I think this is 12. Like, like, this is 11, which I don't know. Why does it be 11? No, this is probably not 11. Yeah, I'm sorry if you guys are not, like, if any of you guys are bored here, because oh, okay, PFV 11 is Lofty. Lofty is a great episode. Like, this episode is like, its challenge is short, fits in the time frame it's trying to do it. I think this episode is generally a really, just the fact that they were able to make a challenge is just a good episode in like it's been like a 5 minutes. It's really good because it's like, it makes it higher because even with the short amount of time, they still made it to work. Out of the challenge, I'd say that I didn't like the elimination, mainly because, like, Godball was gonna get eliminated no matter what. Like, the other characters, like, have a bigger grudge against Godball. Like, there was no way he was gonna survive against Rocky, so it kind of felt unfair. And then, but after that, the rest of the episode is like really, like, it's definitely a great. It won't be, it's basically nearly the same quality. They're really amazing episodes. There wasn't much of a flaw, except I guess Team No Name being eliminated again. Like seriously, I will not make them eliminated again. I don't see the point. Like I don't see what's the point eliminating them again. Like we'll probably pick the cherries. I'm not sure. Then we got BFB 12, which is okay. Sorry, BFB 12 is fine. It's not a bad episode, but it has a lot of issues with transition episodes where that's all like I remember all that's all the episode is like a transition episode. The challenge is fine, but that's it. And in my opinion, they got rid of the three teams too early. Even though I didn't like it, they got rid of it too early on. Honestly, like it was to the point where I don't even know why. They replaced it with points, which I think is better. Like it has a few good scenes. Like the challenge is at least decent, and at least and like the point transition thing was pretty nice. It was nice, but besides from that, I don't know what else they can add to this episode. It's just the fine episode. There's not much else, but unlike that episode, BB13 is a really great, amazing episode because it has a really. I mean, I'm gonna have to do something quickly. Sorry about that. I was talking to someone. Anyway, BFB 13 is an amazing episode, mainly because like the challenge is like really memorable. I also think the animation is pretty good. Like that's the thing I forgot about this episode. The animation improved in this episode. Which when it did not, it kind of have a hard time going back to BFB 1 to 7 because of the limbs. I just don't like them. They look off. Here, that's the first episode with the good ones. This episode has like a transition from day to night. I think it looks really good. I wish they use such transition more. And again, BFDI should the first season should have taken place more in nighttime because the nighttime background looks really good. Like I think the sky looks awesome. Like I don't know why every our background looks better, but the daytime, like the normal daytime background, I guess it's because it's just so generic. But I don't know why they make all the other backgrounds so much better. The challenge is pretty memorable. Like the maroon ball gag is like just really iconic at this point. Like there's another thing I forgot, like the Penn Island gag. I'm not sure if it's in which episode it is. I'm pretty sure it's BFDI 5, but I could completely be wrong on that one. So if I get corrected, I do appreciate it. But yeah, there's not much to add. It's just a really great episode, and it's a, it's definitely should have been the one to introduce the points on like this episode. Like this one actually is like one of the could only work well with points. The episode also works really well with the points system. Then we have BFB 14, which is it's one of the best episodes. It's like these episodes are so close. Like they are so close. I think this one's better slightly, but mainly because it has a better overall challenge. But this episode has two great challenges. Like, the rejoin is like really good. Like, I think that it has one of the best rejoins. It has the best rejoin because it's a challenge. The winner doesn't feel off. Like, Spongy winning definitely is surprising, but it doesn't feel out of character because it doesn't feel out of character because you know because it makes sense. It makes at least sense. Plus, you did a challenge. It doesn't feel like it doesn't. It isn't like Spongy randomly wins. Like, Spongy actually is. Again, is lifting lows. It just doesn't have a big amount of groups, which like in dozens, which oftentimes makes it kind of surprising that he gets back to the lead again. I do wonder why they don't throw the lows, but I guess they don't. I don't know why. And like that when he got rejoined, like I think that he rejoining was a pretty good decision because Spongy started doing more stuff afterwards. Like I kind of just enjoy Spongy. I just enjoy Spongy's decisions. I don't know why, but I just enjoy him. I don't know why. I don't those characters that I have no idea why I enjoy him. And then the challenge afterwards is pretty good. Like this episode is the first introduction of the RCs of recurring characters. Like technically, this episode was, but this episode had the first big batch, and also Bombi was in this episode. Like, this episode is the first batch, and of course, like you don't know, like where I got that image from my BFB. This is where it came from. Like this episode, like someone somehow recommended we remote, and it, that just amazes me. But whatever. Too bad you can't because of copyright, but it's still awesome. Even then, like without that, like this episode has like the challenge afterwards is really good. Like this, like the Jimmy Darko challenge is just pretty enjoyable to watch. Like it's not as good, but as the love one, but it's this episode stays strong. Like there's not really any flaws, honestly. It's anything flaws. Like I don't know, it has like it doesn't make the point system fair. Like first of all, characters that don't have like they don't have limbs, like don't have arms, get a benefit of some points. I think that makes sense since yeah they have a disadvantage. It's pretty obvious, especially with the lift challenge. That was a pretty obvious one. Example. Also like the joke about them drowning in bread. Like that was such a funny joke. And the throwing acid joke was also pretty good. Then there's BFDI 15, which again it's a great episode. Like these episodes in the middle are some really great episodes. Like I don't think I mean I don't think did that for one of the best episodes of the show of the series even like mainly because they do such a good job with the challenges. Like the challenge here is like split into two. Like it's a bit like this episode, Crybaby, but it's different. Like I'd say the only major issue is I think that the the second half of it feels like it's copying like Sweet Tooth, but at least it actually But again, it's only half of it, and it's still a unique take on it. Plus, like the perfect challenge was already a pretty enjoyable one. It doesn't much really to add. It's just it has a generally good challenge, and it's just enjoyable to watch. Also, basing this on like season stamps, like sure, this episode isn't as plot heavy or like characters heavy, but as the other episodes, but they're like for the season they are in, like you don't really need much to be that high. Of course, doing nothing gets you pretty low. Like seriously, I don't know what you're doing with these episodes. And speaking of doing nothing, what what the fuck did he do with this episode? Like I'm just baffled. Like this episode's like so useless. Like that episode has one of the most boring challenges of the show, first of all. But what's even worse about this episode is that's completely useless. Half of it isn't even spent on the challenge. Half of it's spent on counting points. And what's worse, the points don't matter because everyone's fires eliminated. Like they just pulled a twist out of ours. Like I don't know why. Like what's the point of doing the point system of you just doing a random twist? Like seriously, this episode's terrible. Like there's no reason to watch this episode. Like I guess the sneak peek was cool, but that isn't enough to get higher. I'm gonna have to make a cut here, so yeah, see you a little bit. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, for some reason I don't know, this take is 2 weeks or 3 weeks later than the last one because I forgot that I did this before, which I apologize. But more importantly, pretty sure I left off. I'm 99% sure I left off in this episode. Again, I think this is a great episode. For reasons, I actually like the challenge. The challenge I think it's simple, but it works. Mainly because it's. Mainly, I also like the pairings with the teams. Like, I also like how some of the teams are paired like Tennisball and Fairy. Like, we don't really get to see that a lot. In Rocky and Smudgy, we don't really get to see that often. I also found like I also like some of the jokes like the points like leaving like minus 1,000 points like that was pretty harsh. Overall, there's not much else to say about this episode since like it's episode that has to reveal. There are also some other jokes that are pretty funny. I am pretty certain that this is the episode where Pencil says that Ice Cube is garbage. If it is, then yeah. What else do you want? This episode has it. This episode is not the best episode. It's not better than this one because the challenge is better than this one. But besides from that, this episode is pretty great. Yeah, if the challenge was longer, it'd probably be more higher. But wait, I need to do something. Uh-huh. I want to check if this is recording. Okay, so next will be BFB 18. But that's one of the best episodes. Like, okay, let's start. Okay, I don't know why you didn't remember this. The rejoin, the debut thing, it's the most iconic one, honestly. This is probably the best one, mainly because it's just so memorable. Like, I'm probably gonna make a recreation of it. Probably later on. But here is the next episode, BFB 18, and it's one of the best episodes of the first season, easily. Like, this episode has it, like, okay, so the only part I didn't like was TV, like okay, so like it was kind of hard to decide who was gonna win and lose, like who's gonna get out BB 18 because I liked all those characters in there, but TV being the one kind of like, eh, I'm not sure if it was that like make more sense, but yeah. I guess I'll. Yeah, I guess Levy was the better option in the long run. Well, Yeah, I don't know how to feel with elimination, but everything after that is awesome. Like, yo, the debut is really good. I actually liked it. Not the best, but not good. Wait, wait. Okay, sorry about that. People were making noise, so I had to cut basically. Uh, yeah, like what you said with the episode still applies. Like, the challenge is good. I think it's a really enjoyable challenge. Like, I'm just gonna sum it quickly. The challenge is good. I think the supply is really good. I like the debut a lot. Like, I think those are really good reasons. The only thing I didn't like was the dumb like with pencil down was just dumb. Like, why did he do that? He shouldn't have done that. Like, I don't get what was the point. In my honest opinion, like, it feels like they took like it's exactly the same issue as this of BFDI 16. Like, why would you do that? Like, it makes no sense. And then we have Recession, which I think this is the start of why I think the show, the first season, kind of started going downhill. In my honest opinion, in BFDI went to its dark age. Like, not a bad episode, but it's not good. Like, the biggest issue was okay. First of all, the elimination was not that good because Ari explained because Pencil felt Jay got eliminated unfairly. But more importantly, like the challenge had good ideas, but the execution was meh. Eh. Like, I feel like they mastered the court, the like unicycle too early. They should have like made them like having more difficulty. Like some of the jokes worked, but towards the end, like there weren't many jokes. Like David Paul was pretty good, but like it's looking back, yeah, this is definitely better than this episode because like it's kind of hard to decide between this one, but yeah, like it's pretty rock quality. Like, and it is just for one episode because the next episode, 5020, 50I20. The last year of this episode, like, in terms of animation, it's really good. Like, I think the animation is like the best in the BFDI and maybe even BFDI. But oh my gosh, the plot is so uninteresting. There's almost no jokes, and the debut, like the rejoin, it's saying I did not like it. I'm sorry, but I feel like after the third one, like first of all, the music choice did not fit. The music did not fit with it. It just felt too weird, and I felt like that. Like it, I don't know. It just didn't really feel that enjoyable to watch. I don't know. I just don't know how to feel about it. Like, I think they did a better job in like the first one, and in like the debut they did a lot better, and even in the first region they didn't do it. They did better because it was shorter, and which it's gonna naturally be shorter, but like I don't know. I just felt a little more unique. The comments that the characters did. Then you have BFDI 21 Edge. Okay, I will give you this. This episode, but it's not it doesn't focus on the challenge a lot. It does focus on the rejoin, and I think the rejoin is pretty good for the most. It's pretty decent for the most part. The issue that I really don't like is when there's a lot of filler with like them calling out names, but it's nice, but it takes way too much time for half the episode. Like, I'm pretty sure it takes off almost a minute of the episode. Maybe I'm pretty sure 30 seconds. I'm certain 30 seconds because, but I'm pretty sure around 30 seconds. But it felt like an eternity, and I'm so glad that T-pop made that reference a lot better because they could use a script that reference. Like, I know they won't screw it up, but still, I'm so surprised they didn't speed it up significantly. Now, the challenge is pretty fine. Like, it's short, but eventually short, and I think they do, and again, they do some pretty good gags along the way. Like, if you go to Yoga Land, like, which is important, and Bubble King like have eaten the yo-yo berries, which he sort of like basically not do as well in the challenge. Overall, yeah, that was decent. Like, pretty much really to it. I think the latter half of the debut of the rejoin. I mean, sorry, get confused with the two. The latter half of the rejoin, I think, is better because like they start having better interactions. It's not like just characters naming off users. Like they're not naming off people who voted. Like seriously, you don't get that. BFDI. This is like the best episode. I would like the episodes after recession. This episode. Like I know this episode because it's an easy name to remember. This other episode I don't really know. Also, I forgot this name. So it has like the worst name ever. Gardening Hero. I don't question it. Like it's just a name. I guess I don't know. But BFDI 22. It's good. Like it has the same issues as this episode, but it executes it more better. Like I think executes it better. About the speakers, hot take by actually I like the fire speaker box. I do not like the flower speaker box at all. I think she just cloned a flower, basically. Like, I think they executed the idea better in this episode, and well, I guess the volcano kind of was like similar to how they kind of just ended it all of a sudden. Like it doesn't feel like a complete cop out as like I think it feels dramatic enough. Like I guess it feels so dramatic enough. Like it makes sense. So overall, this good episode. I think did pretty good with this episode. And I think that's all the ones that are here, and I'm gonna start picking off the ones here. Wow. BFDI 23. I'm pretty sure this is hurtful. Like and hurtful is like. It's not as bad as this one. It's there. Hurtful's biggest issue is that okay. First of all, there's a few plot holes in this episode. First of all, like Ice Cube, none of the contestants escaped from the TLC for some reason. I don't know why. Like Ice Cube did, but no one else. That seems kind of strange if you really think about it. Second of all, like the scene afterwards with like the speaker boxes, different speaker boxes, and like the melting the contestants. That was a nice scene. Those were pretty good scenes. Those were pretty good scenes. Well, how did that work? Like, just a few issues. First of all, like, Flower is a bit too murderous. Like, I don't know what. I feel like they're trying to get it out in this episode, and I kind of hate that with the show. It's pretty obvious when you don't want the character anymore that they change her personality abruptly. And Flower, yes, she's been like mean, but I don't think she's ever been murderous. She usually doesn't murder. And Levy kind of felt too nice. I'm not sure. Like, well, some people say that she's too nice in this episode. Like, I disagree. This is mainly because of the arc that she has with Bubble. If you don't know about the arc, I feel like Levy was trying to manipulate Bubble by making her, since okay, she was like offering, like her immunities. She was offering her immunities, which should show that Leafy was nice, and Bubble tried to meet, kept up with those standards, like the same standards as Leafy. But Leafy was like, sure, you did good, but you're not as good as me. You still need a long way to go. And Bo kind of just wanted appreciation from Leafy. And if Bo, the thing is that if Bo said like refused, like Leafy would get mad, and all of a sudden she's nowhere near as nice as her, basically. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what she was going for. So like she's trying to be nice and kind, so she can, so if Bo would just refuse, she can lash out, which I think was it's a pretty interesting idea. Like, I can understand if you're looking at it casually and you think it's a bit off, but I think it worked. I would say that some of the arguments made no sense, like, because she helped Flower, even though Fairy helped Flower as well, so, yeah. Also, but the real reason why it's low is that half of the challenges get skipped over in the recommended characters section, and I don't. That felt disappointing. They shouldn't have done that. Like, they really lowered it. It felt disappointing. They shouldn't have done that. Okay, I will give this higher than this, but I don't know. There also wasn't that many good jokes in this episode, so yeah. All you have to say about this episode. BFDI. 24 is like the beginning of the Dark Ages, and yeah, it's awful. Considering their setup, I have no idea how this is gonna work. First off, okay, first mistake. Did not release a TLC contestant. You should have. Like, there's not much you can do with 4 characters, in my honest opinion, in 11-minute episodes. In 8 to 11-minute episodes, you can't really do that. First of all, it becomes really boring and uninteresting. Like, the characters don't connect each other well. Like, Bubble kind of do, but Dark already ended, so not really. Bubble and Flower kind of do, well, but it kind of finishes, like, BFB 25 did it better. Fairy and Leafy, like, they didn't even interact in this episode, and Fairy and Flower never had interaction, so overall, yeah, like, a bunch of the characters don't even have a lot of interactions together, which limits how much you can do with this episode already. And the fact there's no challenge means there's almost no like conflict. Like, I also felt there's a lot of flaws and stuff. So like, another major yeah, I should probably say another major issue with the episode is they decided to still be in the nomination. This hurt the episodes and they made them not able to really spread out, use like go anywhere beyond the elimination scene. Like, okay, so and that's what like first, and then they have like a filler segment. Like, you know what's bad when the filler segment is the best part of the episode of Plonky Funny Doings and Yellow Faces part. You know what's bad when that part is the best part, and they're not even that good. Like they're fine, but not that good because like they kind of just come out of nowhere. So. And like, I don't know, like they try canceling BFDI, but it feels like it's less of an importance than it actually is. Like the characters are panicking, but then there's a new threat that comes along, which has completely nothing to do with of the announcer canceling the show. And I mean, it's nice to see one, but it kind of like comes out of nowhere, and like it gets resolved in like the really fast, and then there's David comes here, and okay, I will give you this. David is really annoying when there's a bunch of Davids together. Like, and to mention that a lost one that at least around a minute is wasted with him, which you really had to pick David out alone. Like, as much as I like David for season, you shouldn't have picked him. Like, it makes sense if he did something interesting, which I mean, he did. He did do something interesting, but I mean, with the leaf thing, but you should have had more characters. And then the whole Victor death was kind of just stupid. Like they didn't. Like, really, that was just And then we had like the fan ceremony thing, which is the thing that really hurt the episode. It was like a flashback thing, and get what we're trying to do, make this into an epic moment, but it just doesn't work. Like, it's just too uninteresting. Like, there's no point. Like, it just seems unnecessary in already pre-fillery episode. Overall, it's like one of the worst episodes of the show. I may even bring it down here. I'm not sure. It's such an uninteresting episode. It's so conflicted. I want to check the recording. Okay. BFDI 25. I was gonna say this. I think it's an overhated episode, but I still think it's a bad episode. can't play this here for now. So, what's the show's episode? The show's episode is pretty obvious. Like, okay, the first half of the first part of the episode, pretty good. I think they did a really good job. Like, the fact that they included all the recommended characters to the show, which, nice. But, more importantly, I kind of just like how they real that all the contestants, like, the fire let all the contestants in. Like, it just feels like nice that like, no one gets left out in this event. But the problem started with Leafy here. Fire decided for some random reason to go 180 and nullify Leafy at for a Ferris wheel. In like, I'm pretty sure an episode, but yes, last episode. Okay, first of all, that's just a stupid reason. Second of all, that now he has died several other times, and I don't think that that's a good reason. And third of all, like, seriously, like, Leafy died. First of all, like, Leafy died. So second of all, I don't get why on earth he thought Leafy didn't like to give. And third of all, he should have forgot about this. Like, he wasn't even mad in that scene. But now he's mad? What? But then Levy, now, if he left off like this, Fire will clearly be the worst of the two because Fire reasoning is so stupid. But Levy had the brilliant idea of stealing from Island. For all, this is just a stupid move because that's not going to solve anything. That takes away Dream Island from him and gives it to her. First of all, actually, it isn't good because all the consistency Fire let in won't be let in her Dream Island. So, yeah. And second of all, what is this gonna do to resolve the conflict? Like, really, Leafy? Like, and you're saying that, wait a minute, like, of course you won't talk because she's really not happy right now. But first of all, Fire got called out on this when they were trying to find Dream Island. So he should have just waited. But no, she doesn't. So already this episode has some dumb plot holes and some character moments that make no sense. But next, another issue. The episode starts having a really dark tone, which I know the last episode had a bit of a dark tone, but this one goes too much. And after this, like, some random stuff started happening, like that, like DFO, some stuff popping up. With, I mean, the kind of just felt random, honestly. Not saying it didn't contribute to anything. Not saying that it didn't contribute to anything, because it certainly did. Since, sorry, Fiery, no, like Woody, I'm sorry, died. But then we have Flower, which, okay, this is a worst moment. Like, Flower goes out of character and they destroy all the coffee centers. Okay, first of all, I do not get why. First of all, this just comes out as them trying way too hard to make her a bad character. Because, you know, this makes no sense. Like, I know she's rude, but she's not a murderer. It's aggressive. Now, what's even worse is that, like, nothing really happens in this episode. Like, contestants are just to find Dream Island, but they don't do anything. Really, like, wait. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, I was saying, like, then he made Leafy, which, yeah, it's pretty honest to her, but, like, I mean, first of all, okay, so, like, I don't know how to feel, like, out of that, like, the plot is kind of just, trying to execute Levy basically. And this is the only good moment afterwards is Fire saves her and gives this really good speech. And okay, they had a good ending, but they had a really bad episode. So it's kind of sad that the show finished not the show kind of didn't do us that good in its later episodes. It's kind of sad because the show used to have some really good episodes in the middle, but I don't know what happened. I guess less characters, like some of the characters that kind of needed, some of the characters kind of needed had a bunch of interactions like Pencil and Ice Cube, and what that stayed were characters like Spongy and Rocky that weren't useful, and the characters that were left didn't really interact much with each other. So yeah, I feel like the process of elimination, like I feel like the characters that were more popular, not the characters that had the best interactions, were the ones that won. Anything that survived longer. So that was the reason why the episodes got gradually worse because and also the fact that less contestants in general happens. So yeah. Sorry, I didn't know why he did that. But more importantly, I'm gonna make a cut right here. Yeah, I think it's a very pleased cut.